Welcome all. We are into the third session of the Nasadiya Suktam, and we have the PDF available in the pinned link in the top. Those who want to follow the text can follow that. You don't have to have the app. You can browse it. Oh, Namo Brahma Dibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयम् करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करम् लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करम् शङ्कराचार्यम् केशवम् बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।
नासदासीन् तदानीम् नास्तीन्द्रजो नो व्योमा परो यत् किमावरेव कुहकस्य शर्मन् अम्बक्किमासीत् गहनम् गभीरम् न मृत्युरमृतम् तर्हिणा रात्र्या अग्न आसीत् प्रकेतः आनीतवादकस्वरया तदेकम् तस्माद्धान्यः परः किञ्चनासा तव आसीत् तमसा गूढमग्रे प्रकेतम् सलिलपुं सर्वमाहितम् तुच्छेनाभ्यभिहितं यदासीत् तमसस्तन्महिराजायतैकम् कामस्तदग्रे समवर्तताधि मनसोरेत प्रथमै यदासीत् सतो बन्धुमसति निरविन्दन् हृदि प्रदेश्या कवयो मनीषा तिरश्चेनो विततो रश्मिरेषाम् अधस्विदासीत् वेदोदा आसन् महिमान आसन् स्वधा आस्तात् प्रयति परस्तात् को अद्धा वेदकह्य प्रोचत् कुत आजाता कुतैयम् विसृष्टिः अर्वादेव अस्य विसर्जनाय अथा को वेदयत बभूव इयम् विसृष्टिर्यत बभूव यदि वादते यदि वारा यो अस्याध्यक्ष परमे व्योमन् सो अङ्गवेद यदि वानवेद ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
So we have completed the first three mantras of Nasadiya Suktam till now, and just the third one too, we will just revise it so that we have the continuity between the third and the fourth. The third one says, Tama asit tamasak gudam agre apraketam salilam sarvama idam tuchena abu apihidam yat asit tapasat tat mahina ajayata ayakyam. So, agre, in the beginning, gudam tamasa tama asit. Darkness or tamas, which can be also ignorance. Tamasa gudam. By concealed by itself, because darkness is, or ignorance is, one which has the concealing power or covering power. So when you do not know something, it can not only cover the reality of the one which you do not know, but it also can project, which is what is called avarana and vikshepa, means covering and projection. The misapprehension, the non-apprehension of reality is the reason why it can create a misapprehension. Example, the famous example is the non-apprehension of the rope gives rise to the misapprehension of the snake. So here also it is saying that agre means before the creation took place. Ghuram tamasa, the pitch darkness, or the very, unfathomable ignorance, tama asid. And what was the way in which it is treated? Apraketam salilam sarva aidam. Idam sarvam means all this which we normally talk about as what has been created, or everything what is seen as here, sarvam, idam sarvam, salilam apraketam. As if in the deep waters of darkness, salilam means water. So, apraketam means undistinguishable form. That means in the darkness, these creations were present, or were they not present, nobody knows, because they were all covered in the darkness, in the pitch darkness. So whether the question their creation was there before or not before cannot be positively affirmed. Therefore, idam sarvam apraketam salilam. So that is the way in which it is in this thick tamas, or the darkness or the ignorance, was as if deep waters. Tuchena abu apihitam yat asid. So yat asid, what remained? Apihitam. Apihitam, you can really say that again concealed, like apraketam, apihitam, both are the similar meaning. Enveloped, you can say here. Apihitam abu. So all those unborn, abu, tuchena apihitam, is covered by something so insignificant. This tamas, which is a non-existent one, the darkness is really non-existent. It is, or the ignorance is non-existent. That ignorance is the tucham, or the insignificant one, which is apihitam, covering this abhu, means all this creation, which otherwise would have been there for what our consumption or experience, is now not available for consuming. Tapasa tat mahina ajayata ekam. Tapasa, in the deep meditation, or in the bosom of rishis, of greatness, who have the great, this one which is not being able to be identified as what is the source from where it is all being appearing, that is the one which is now being born from, as if from nowhere. Now, I didn't explain this in the last class. Let us all assume our experience of our deep sleep. From the deep sleep, when we start experiencing the world in the waking or dream, what is the first thing what will come up? The typical answer will be the mind. But the mind is not the one which is coming up. It is the individuality or the ego, andhakaranasya, the form of the andhakarana which is in the individuality, ahankar, not ahankar in the negative sense, the aham itika, that aham, that I, the individuality is the one which is to spring up first from the deep sleep, because it is that which is having the desire to experience the objects and experience, for which that individuality or the ego creates the mind. So the mind is an instrument created by the ego or the individuality for the purpose of experiencing the world of creation. Now, if the individuality is not seen as part of creation, but as part of Atma itself, who is now creating the mind, is also creating the world of experiences. So if you look real into the aspect of experience, mind, and the individuality and the Atma or the awareness, you will find that all the whatever we divide into as the knower, the known, and the knowing, all the three are nothing but the same thing. That is why that Sarvatma Bhava is possible only to the person who identifies himself or who knows his true nature. Because only if you see the unadulterated aspect of the self without becoming the individual or the mind or the world of objects, the Sarvatma Bhava or everything is that one awareness can be experienced or be known. When I mean experience, not as a subject-object experience, but as a knowing principle. This is now being prohibited by tamasa, gudam tamasa, that ignorance of not able to know our own nature. What Ramana Maharshi says, who am I? That is the question inquiry we should have. All the masters are, even Keno Upanishad says that. So, where we fail to know our true nature, that is the stage where the ignorance is engulfing us. But the question is, if the self is self-effulgent and has knowledge of it as its nature or awareness as its nature, how can there be ignorance covering it? Is a question which normally can be asked, that question. In the Brihadaranya Vartika, Sureshwaracharya says that Swaprakashe kuto avidya. Where is the darkness in the Suprakasha Atman, in the Atman? In the sun, there is no darkness, or there is no potency for darkness in the sun. But at the same time, when we experience a solar eclipse, we are seeing the darkness in place of sun, or the sun being covered by something. This is what happens when we try to see the Atma or awareness or the nature through mind. The mind is in the place of earth. The ignorance is in between, which is prohibiting from the mind knowing the Atman. So the ignorance is a non-entity, tucham. And that is the one which is covering not the self, but the mind. Now you should be able to understand how it is working. The ignorance is in the mind because the mind is not looking to realize your own Atman or our own soul or our own nature, but it is preoccupied due to the vasanas or the tendencies, innate tendencies in us to look outward. The famous Kathopanishad mantra, Paranchikani Vidranat Swayambhu Tasmat Parang Pashyati Nandaratman. So all the sense organs, including mind, is trained Parang Pashyati to look toward the world of enjoyment, of the world which has been created. But when the mind is in the clutches of the ignorant, the world will be seen as Nama Rupa, names and forms. The true nature of the world is never known to us. To know the true nature of the known of the world, we should know ourselves. Then only we will know the true nature of the world. Because there is no difference between ourselves and the world. Sarvam, Sarvatma. Sarvam Atma. That is, everything is Atma only. So that knowledge doesn't get within our mental realm because the tendencies in the mind for desires and the sensual enjoyments in the world in the form of names and forms. The same objects, when known as Atma or the same awareness only, still the enjoyment by the mind can continue. That person who continues his enjoyment through the mind, as knowing the world is also Atma or awareness, is in a state of Ananda or bliss. That is why it is called Satchidananda. Sat and Chit and Ananda. Because Sat and Chit is the nature of everything. And Ananda comes from knowing that everything is Sat and Chit. So these explanations are hidden in this mantra, which is number 3. But you need to see the intended meaning of the Rishi when he says that everything is covered in the darkness of the deep waters of darkness. And insignificant one which is covering this, that was the one which was thing. And only through tapas, that one which is having the full glory to become everything, becomes born as everything. That is why this third mantra can be explained in any number of ways you want, because the Sanskrit grammar and the Sanskrit words are such that the person who sees that correctness of what the Rishi has seen it, or what he intended, will only be able to give the intended meaning or through the correctness of it. Otherwise, there are people who have translated literally like what I read, darkness there was at first concealed in darkness. This all was in indiscriminated chaos. All that existed then was void and formless. By the great power of warmth was born that unit. This is what Griffith has translated. I don't know where he got this. Obviously he has learned Sanskrit and he has translated it from the apparent meaning. And even in the traditional method, they have not taken it as Brahman and the Sarvatma Bhava, or the everything is one, but they have divided it as Ishvara Jiva Jagat. Because there is a Ishvara, creator, Jagat is the created, and the one who knows the Jiva is the Jiva. That is the way in which that division was made in the traditional translation. Let us look into the fourth mantra. Kamaha tadagre samavartadagi manaso reta pratamam yadasid. Sadah bandhum asati niravandan hridi pradishya kavayaha manisha. Kamaha, desire. Tad agre, tasya agre, tad agre. In the beginning, that in the beginning of the creation, samavartadadi, Sam mean our surrounding, Vartada means creation, Adi means reference to. The creation with reference to the entire world in the beginning was due to Kama. Kama means desire. The same idea is replicated in all the Upanishads if you see that. So kamayata bahusyam prajayeti. Saha akamayata. He desired. Let me become many in one Upanishad. Tadaikshada. It willed or it imagined. So again the will or imagination, it's a mental activity. So you will find all the Upanishads virtually wherever creation is being spoken, you will find that it is the desire of Brahman or the desire of the one which is the source from where the creation took place. You don't want it to name in Brahman? Fine. Don't name it. From there it is the word. Retaha pratamam yad asit. Manasaha retaha pratamam yad asit. That is the second part of the first line. Manasaha, in the mind. Manasaha. Retaha means the seed or the what you call the semen or the whatever is the cause for creation. Pratamam yada asid. In the mind, it is the desire which was the seed, which subsequently becomes everything. The whole world. The whole world is nothing but the desire of that one, which is translated into objects and the individuals like you and me. Tataha bandhum asati niravindan hridi pradishya kavaya manisha. Kavayaha means the seers or those who are what you call sages, wise men, manasa, here manisha. In the second line it is used as manisha, not manasa. Manisha means that intelligence. When they searched in their heart, Hridi Pratishya, these sages who wanting to know the source of creation, when they searched in their own heart, that means it is not an objectifying or objectifiable way of looking into the objects to find an answer, but they knowing very well that they are also part of the creation. What is seen outside should be seen inside me also, because I am also a creation like the rest of the world. If there is the trees, the animals, the world, the pattern, the sun, the moon, the cosmos, everything, I am also a creation equal to one of them. So what, instead of looking at all of them and not able to understand, because I have to become that to know what it is to be like a star or what it is to be like a planet or a plant or an animal. But I am already a part of the creation. So the seers, the sages, using their intelligence, wisdom, Hridi, in their own bosom, in their own heart, they found what? Sataha bandhum niravindam asati. That Niravindan is finding out or discover. What did they discover? Relation between the creator and the created is asati, non-existent. Because if the creation is real and separated out from the creator, then there can be a relationship. If the creator himself or itself is appearing as the created without going through any changes, then where will you find the relationship between them? That is why Sato Bandhum Asati Niravindan. That connection did not exist. It was a non-entity for the Bandham. Bandham means to have the connection between the creator and the created. Because there is no created separate from the creator himself, creator itself. Or from that, there is no separation or no coming out or forming out into objects other than that. This was known in the bosom of the seers or the sages when they inquired through their wisdom. So, connecting between 3 and 4, you can say that tucham or the insignificant ignorance is in between the creator and the created, which apparently making a separation. A non-existent entity of ignorance or avidya is the reason why the creation is being felt as real and separate from the creator. This was seen in the bosom by the seers or the sages when they found and they looked for the cause as the seed, kama sadakre, because all the Upanishads were talking about the kama, that he desired to create. And since when he was all alone, or when it was all alone, no material cause, no intelligent cause, nothing other than him, when that alone existed, how can there be a creation separate from him? That separation is due to the ignorance. The traditional meaning in the Swamiji's explanation is that before creation, the desire to create the Jagat was born in the mind of Ishvara. Vasanas, the latent impression, which is representing here the avidya, abiding in the mind of jivas, are the cause of for as Ishvara's desire. Vasanas were born from the karmas performed by the jivas in the past kalpa. Before this creation comes, the previous dissolution created that kalpa, which has become now the seed for the future creation. And the all-knowing sages have entered into the cause of the empirical jagat and understood it thoroughly in their andakarana or hridi by means of buddhi absorbed in samadhi as the karmas performed by the jivas in their earlier kalpas, presently abiding the avyakrita or the unmanifest Ishvara. So that is what the Yaska's commentary is based upon. What does the Griffith translation talk about? Thereafter rose the desire in the beginning, desire, the primal seed and the germ of spirit. Sages who searched within their hearts throughout thought discovered the existence kinship in the non-existent. I can't make out what he's translating here it is. But if you look at the Sanskrit words and the understanding what is given here, Kamaha tadagre samavartadati manaso reda pratamam yadasid. Sadabandhum asadi niravindan hridi pradishya kavayaha manisha. So this being the nature in which the creation should be understood as not separate from the source of creation, and if at all it is seen separate, it is the desire which is residing in the mind, which is creating the separation. And that was found out by the rishis in their own bosom, that it is my own desire for the karma and the karma phalas which is keeping the world alive, and thereby giving the authorship of creation to somebody else as Ishvara. When he realized that he is also part of the creation and the ignorance was nullified, puchena, which is by knowing the nature of creation and the Sarvatma Bhava, that there is no difference between the creator and the created, because there is no separation possible, because there is neither the material cause nor the intelligent cause to create something separate from it. He created out of his own will in the mind. So whatever is being created in his own mind has to be within his own mind or his creation and seen within himself. So that creation, such a creation, is an appearance in his own bosom, where I am also his creation. That is the way in which we have to understand this mantra. If you look at the fifth mantra, it says that Tiraschinaha vidada reshmi yesham adasvid asit upari svid asit. Retado retodhaha Retodaha asan mahimana asan swada avastad prayati parastad. This is slightly tricky, this fifth mantra. Tiraschina, in the transverse or horizontal way in which we created, extended the world, like Reshmi, Esha. When the sun appears in the sky, the rays of the sun is transmitted in 360 degrees without any hindrance or impediments. So it is Adaha Svid, Upari Svid, Asit. So it projected all around. Here he is talking Adaha and Upari, means down and up. It is not down and up, it is in all the directions. Retoda is actually speaking Rataha Daratiyaha. That means one who is having the capacity to impregnate or produce or create. That is the meaning of Ratoda. Asan existed. Mahimana Asit. This creator or the source of creation, when it, like rays of sun transmitting all around, in the glory of his own power, existed as a source for all appearances. Swada, its own power. Avastad prayati parastad. So avastad, before the creation, using his self-power, and afterwards, when the world appears in himself, the prayati means will or effort or intention or the desire, kama, the thing. You can say that this is exactly, if you look at our own dream experience, we are the Retoda. We are the creator of our dream. And did the dream come like first came the sky of the dream or the space of the dream, then came the air in the dream, then came the fire in the dream? Like that, did the dream come part by part by part? No. The dream came in all directions. Whether we are seeing, we are in the sky, or we are experiencing the world, or we are experiencing faraway place, nearby place, or our own inner space of happiness and sorrow, there is no space where it is not impregnating or creating the experiences of the world. So the awareness of the dream is like the rays of the sun, which is going in all the 360 degrees. Same way, the awareness of the dream for the creator of the dream is everywhere. Is the world outside, it is there, the world inside the dreamer's mind, and inside the objects, the qualities of the objects, the colors of the objects or the names and forms of the objects, including the dreamer himself. Everything is his mahima. It is his own glory, the dreamer's glory. And before, he was all in himself. The moment the dreams started, now you will see that this creation of the dream is similar to the creation of the waking. So when I said the dream, it was easy for us to understand. But the moment I say that the dream and the waking is the similar way, our mind plays a dirty game. It doesn't want to accept. That is what is called the ignorance, the thickness of the darkness, the gulam tamasa, tama asid, the second mantra or the third mantra. That darkness is what is holding us to understand from understanding that this waking of our experience is also similar to our dream. It is the creator, we, becoming the dreamer or the waker, creating instantaneously the world of dream, creating instantaneously the world of waking when we wake up from our deep sleep. What is the difference between the two? There is no absolute difference between the experiences. It is all nothing but awareness everywhere. In the awareness, we apprehend, we project, or we experience as the dreamer or a waker and the waking world or the dream world, objects of the dream, objects of the waking. Everything is nothing but that awareness. It is only those who can meditate upon this, do the manana and nididhyasana on these verses, can realize how the rishis of the yore saw that in their own bosom. Each one of us can realize that. That is the way in which the Nasadiya Sutra, fifth mantra is saying that elongation in the word Svidasid, Dupari Svidasid. So that elongation is when a situation of what you call doubt, no, I can't call it as doubt, a question arising, which is, can it be like that or is it like that? The word trail off without affirming is a state of non-affirmation. For indicating that is the elongation in the mantra. So if you say Tiraschina Vidata Rishmiyesham Adasvid Asid Upari Svid Asid, that elongation Asid, that word Asid is a non-affirmative word. But as form of as a question mark also you can put it. Did it exist? Did it spread out? Like that. So this fifth mantra, third, fourth and fifth mantras are really giving us the insight into the creation. And we should be able to meditate upon this in our own bosom. Take the mantra, look at the meaning, and try to find out the meaning within yourself. Then only you will know that what really is the creation, what is your own self, who are you. The answer will come only when then that is done. And once you know that who we are, we will know who the Creator is and who the world is. Neha nanasti kinjana. There is nothing other than that. Yatra na anyap pasyadi anyas srunodi anyad vijanadi. Where you don't see anything, hear anything other than that, know anything other than that. That sarvam kaluidam brahma. That experience will be ours when we are able to look within ourselves and realize the meaning what the Rishi is talking about. The next two mantras I will take it in the coming week, but before that let me read the traditional meaning and what Griffith has given. Did the aggregate effects of the cause and creation spread towards the middle, or did it spread downwards, or did they spread upwards? Not so. They spread everywhere instantaneously like the rays of the rising sun. Jivas superior in nature were born, so too was the experiential world inferior or subservient to the jivas for experience. The Bhokta Loka is, the Bhokta Jiva is superior to the Bhogya Loka. Traversely was their serving line extended. What was above it, then what was below it. Thereafter begetter, there were many forces, free action here and energy yonder. Anyway, these translations are, I just gave it for the purpose to show that how differently one can arrive at the meanings. From the same mantra, if you look at it from different way, literal translation or traditional translation, and if you want to see the translation of your own understanding within your own bosom, that is the way in which one should look at it. And I can't see Prasad here, so sorry, we will do one thing else.
यदि बाधते यदि बाणा यो अस्याध्यक्ष परमेभ्यो मन् सो अङ्गवेद यदि बाणवेद ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् थैंक यू धन्यवाद
Sorry, I was waiting for Artemisia, but thank you, Binduji. Hand raising is open to everyone who wants to come up and ask Bindu a question about this or make a comment. Please come up and don't be shy.
Namaste, Binduji.
नमस्ते तारा
Namaste, Artmisha. Namaste, Patrick. Binduji, the mantra Purnamidam Purnata Purne Purnamudachyate. What is the true import of this mantra? Binduji, if you could talk about that.
pardon
What is the true import of this mantra?
I have detailed explanation given in the beginning of my Prashna Upanishad. I think Prashna Upanishad, right? It is there in the YouTube channel with Tara or the previous. You can go to the regression. It needs one class almost for me to explain that. That's why I'm not replying to you. I'll send you if you want, I can send you the link or I can share the replay link.
I will look for the link, Binduji. Thank you so much. I will.
Okay, because I took almost one full class for explaining the Purnamada mantra.
I'm sorry I've missed it, sir. I would have loved to be a part of that. But I will look for your videos on YouTube and I will educate myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Tar. Namaste, Venkat.
Hari Om, Binduji.
Hari Om.
Binduji, I have few questions, Binduji. I think he's really, moved from the undefined state to the, the creation, various dimensions. Well, it was very nice of you taking us through this. I have one question on this insignificant ignorance. It is referred to the undefined state also in the dark waters. You can't exactly tell. Either a causal state, either the ignorance is somewhere put in as an insignificant ignorance there too. And in the creation, again, the insignificant ignorance covering. Why it is so? It is called insignificant. What is the very reason for that putting that insignificant ignorance covering? Any thoughts on this, Binduji?
Because I told you, avidya or tamas is non-existent. It is the absence of knowledge. Or even darkness, if you consider, it is absence of light. Even a spark from a firefly will be very prominent in pitch darkness and if you are in the forest or something like that. Here, the insignificance is being tucham, is being highlighted because it is non-existent. If it is something which is existent, then you need to do a karma. It is a Kartratantra. Only through Kartratantra you can remove something which is existing, Sat. Which is Asat. No Kartratantra can remove it. Because Vastutantra cannot be covered by a, what you call, a Kartratantra, Karma. That means fire is what fire is. Now, fire will exhibit itself whether you like it or not. And fire is there in everything. Only the thing is that it is not exhibiting itself because the right ambience or right condition is just not reached. From a grass which will catch fire immediately to a planet to become a burning sun, everything is possible with fire. There is nothing which fire cannot engulf it. But at the same time, the absence of fire darkness is such that you don't know how to get rid of it other than the fire, with the fire. In the pitch darkness, you need light for your knowing things that's why to know the reality of the creation and the world, you need to remove that insignificant darkness of avidya, which is not a existent thing. Therefore, it is called insignificant.
So, Binduji, the darkness is, same as absence of light. When there is light, there is no darkness. Is darkness significant or light significant? It is, difficult, right, to say this. So darkness is just an absence of light. Just leave it there. Is that, that insignificant? When you meditate upon the insignificance, initially it is emptiness, darkness. Once knowing the nature of one's own self, there is no such darkness at all. Is that the right way to look at it?
You have to understand one thing, Venkat. Light is significant. The absence of light, can you call it as significant? No. That way, knowledge is what everyone needs it. And everyone is knowledge by nature. But as if covered by the ignorance. Even while it is being experienced, in the experience also it is awareness. The world is experienced. You are experiencing yourself, your nature, you know it. You are there as knower. Yet, there is a darkness between you as awareness and you as a knower of the world. Even though it is your unawareness through which you are knowing the world, you are getting engulfed in the ignorance of knowing the reality because of this avidya or ignorance. That is why it is insignificant, at the same time it is profound. I have to use the word profound because it is profound but insignificant. At the same time, you don't need any effort to remove it. All you have to do is to know that you are knowledge in persona, personified. don't forget your knowledge as personification, as the reality. And when you forget that, everything is covered in darkness or ignorance.
I think that explains a lot, Vinodji. It appears to be significant. In reality, when, upon arising of the knowledge, that weans away completely. That is why I think I get it, Vinodji. I think it is used equally for undefined, in the initial mantra number 3, and then the, creation as insignificant equally. Now this has become clear, Vinodji. I have just second question. The Hrudayam, put look into one's own Hrudayam. Again, it is as if going into undefined of that, explained in mantra from 1 to 3. As you switch from Hrudayam to the manifested world, keep shifting. It just make an exercise. Look in and look out. Look in and look out. It quickly switches from totally undefined to appearance. Very very interesting. It is available. Is Hrudayam is referred to beyond manas, or it is the same manas like this? Because I'm just trying to put this, what is this, the Hrudayam referred here? Is that manas or beyond manas?
It is Antakarana, in the sense that it is the totality of the individuality who has the Manobuddhi Ahankara Chitta as a total package. It is not the mind alone. It is not the intellect alone. It is neither the memory nor the the ego of the individuality. It is summum total of all the four put together is what is to be known as Hridayam. Because in the Hridayam, only in the Hridayam one can see the truth. And in that truth, the darkness can also exist in the heart only. In that, in the all the four that ignorance can catch hold of it. So if you remember the beginning when I said that from the deep sleep when we wake up, the individuality, aham, is the first to come up, and the aham needs mana, mind, for experiencing. That mind, when it comes, it looks for data. That is when the chitta comes with the memory bank and the vasanas all put together. And when the experiences comes, that is the time when the intellect starts playing the analytical role of the experiences, referring it with the memory bank. Is it a new one or is it an old one? All analysis of the experience. It's all instantaneous. It's easy to bifurcate and tell it as a big story, but the whole thing happens in a fraction of a second, in nimishamatram. Like the batting of an eyelid, it happens, all the whole thing, even shorter than that. That is how the Hridayam is there. So when the mantra says in the bosom, the rishis realized, means when they removed the darkness totally from their persona. That is the time when the individuality also goes and he becomes one with the creator and the created, because there is no difference between the two. The, the separation was his own creation until he did not know that the ignorance was playing the dirty game. Once that happens, then there is what Krishna says, no, Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra Sarvancha Mai Pashyati. Or, Yatra Nanya Pashyati Anyat Shrunodi Anyat Vijanati. Ekameva Dvitiyam Brahma. Sarvam Khalidam Brahma. Nehana Nasti Kinchana. Any number of mantras you can take from Upanishad, all talks about only one thing. There is no two. Na dudiyam asti. There is nothing second. I cannot say there is only one. I cannot say there is no second. Because the moment I say no second, the mind will come to one, but then it will be finding it difficult to reside in the one. But if I say one, then the mathematical mind will look for what is two or zero. Either it will go to nihilism or it will look for the second one, Dvaita. The only way is that Advitiyam. Where you cannot have a second one. But it is not, the problem is that English has no equivalent for it. So I will use Advitiyam only.
I think, Bidhaji, this is a very significant clarification among everything you explained. So this is a universal mind. There's no individual mind in here. Can we take it as that Hrudayam as a universal mind?
When
There's
you
no
become one with the created and the creator, it becomes a universal mind because there is nobody else.
Yes, Bidhaji. Now that sprouting of I, now I can connect to the Ambarini Sutra in Rigveda, Devi Sukta, Aham. It starts with that Aham, the sprouting, Nabhi, and explains everything else as you said. Now it tallies a lot actually. Thank you, Binduji. This is really good clarifications for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Venkat.
Namaste, everyone. Namaste, Binderji.
Namaste, Karin.
That was beautiful. Venkaji, you basically asked the question I was wondering about because, before this room, there was a room about happiness, and there was this person coming in and getting up on stage. He had a following with him, and he told a lot of truth. He was talking about the source and I am and about wisdom and things like that. But the problem was, and in the chat, his following was basically pointing to him as the only source and the only thing what they have to reach. So they made him the source of becoming something, and they had to become him, basically. So my point is that in that recognition of that the Aham was taking a hold of everything what he was saying, because the words he was saying was true, but the actions within it and the interpretation of what he was saying, you could see it. The ego had taken a hold of it and made it its own. So my point is that the darkness. How can truth still? Because I was surprised that something like that still would rise up within my experience of in awareness. But now I understand after having this class, it was an experience to show the difference that the darkness is only the ignorance that envelops, that is trying to cover up the truth. Even though the truth is being said and it's being shown, but the actions of the Aham was covering it up, and it gave a false image. And so it was like a dream in waking. I hope I made sense. Any comments, please?
Well, I won't be able to comment because I was not in that room.
I
So
know.
what you are talking about, so I can't comment upon that.
Okay. But I found it very significant because it really felt like a dream. I was watching darkness and light both at the same time. That is basically what was observed. And I couldn't interject. He couldn't connect with anything. He was just rambling on. So, okay, thank you. I'm rambling now. So I'll be quiet.
Namaste, Ganesh.
Namaste, Binduji.
You have to speak into the phone, disconnected from charging.
No, I have disconnected. Am I audible now?
Slightly better.
Okay. Just one simple question. Is Hridayam the semblance of the deep sleep state?
No. Hridayam is our persona or the antakarana with which we have to be, as having that four aspects of the in antakarana, mana, buddhi, ahankara, chitta, all four put together. When it is in operation, we can say it is the hridayam, because you cannot remove your ignorance only from one aspect of it. It has to eliminate from all the four. That is, your vasanakshaya should take place. Your ego should not be living. Your mind should be free of all the vikalpas. And your intellect should be as sharp as anything for grasping the truth. So that is when all the four together come to eradicate the avidya or the ignorance in your mind. That is the time when you can say your hridayam is, you are in a state of meditation or in the nididhyasana state.
So in the deep sleep, all the four are absent, no, or inactive?
Inactive. They are there, but inactive.
Inactive. So in the Hridayam state, all the four are active simultaneously.
Yeah, they are active at the same time. As long as you don't have the light, they will be covered with the darkness of the ignorance.
So that is why you told both ignorance and light stay together in the Hridayam.
Yeah, you can see the shadow only where there is light, no? So that is why tama prakashavat viruddha swabhavayo. Even though they are opposing in nature, and you need light to know where darkness is. Even if you are having the light inside the room, when you look outside, you see darkness. So that is also comparison, no? From the comparing between light and darkness. So that you will find that the darkness and the light apparently coexisting, but the light which we are talking about is the light of the self. In that, nothing else can
That
stay.
is self-effulgence. So where darkness, though it is there, it is completely insignificant.
There is no darkness. It is like have the darkness in the sun.
Okay, fine.
It is something similar to that.
So it is a totally self-effulgence, or the state where one has to become that.
Purna Atma Jnanam. Complete self-awareness. There is not even an iota of doubt. That is the state.
Thank you, Binduji. Thank you very much.
Atmisha, you are there. Even if you have some question, you can come. Atmisha is going on a holiday, so Patrick will stand by for Atmisha for those days. She'll be back
Yes,
by end of the month.
right. And I'm just settling into that. So Patrick's in charge today. But I have coverage at this moment. I'll be going largely out of coverage, but I'll attend when I can. It was a beautiful class. Everything was very clear, Binduji. I just want to thank everyone and to be here and Patrick for the role he's playing. I'll just keep listening. I have no questions. It was very, very clear.
Thank you, Atmisha. And Prasad, I was looking for you to chant.
Yeah, I'll chant. I just don't have any Tanpura support, but I'll just chant. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Binduji would have already chanted the Vangme Manasi, so I'll just go with the Nasadiya Suktam. Om Na Sada Sino Sada Asit Tadanim Nasid Drajono Vyoma Paroyat Kimavari Vahkuhakasya Sharmannambah Kima Asid Gahanangabhiram न मृत्युरा आसीदमृतन्न तर्हि न रात्र्या न आसीत् प्रकेतः आनीदवातं स्वधया तदेकं तस्मात् धान्यन्नः परः किञ्चनास तम आसीत् तमसा गूढमग्रे प्रकेतं सलिलं सर्वमा इदम् तुच्छेन्नावपि हितं यदासीत् तमसस्तन्महिना जायतैकम् कामस्तदग्रे समवर्तताधिमनसोरेतः प्रथमं यदासीत् सतो बन्धुमसति निरविन्दन् हृदि प्रतीक्ष्या कवयो मनीषा तिरश्चीनो विततो रश्मिरेषा मधस्विदासीदुपरि स्विदासीत् रेतोधा आसन्महिमानासन् स्वधा अवस्थात् प्रयतिः परस्तात् को अध्वेदक इह प्रवोचत् कुत आजात कुत इयं विसृष्टिः अर्वाग्देवा अस्य विसर्जनेनात्था को वेदयत आबभूव इयं विसृष्टिर्यत आबभूव यदि वा दधे यदि वा न यो अस्याध्यक्षः परमेव्यो मन्त्सो अङ्गवेद यदि वा न वेद ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ Thank you.
Thank you, Prasad. Okay, Patrick, Atmisha, all of you, thank you very much.
Thanks,
8:30
Binduji.
p.m. Friday, we will meet again. Thank you all. Hari Om. Namaste.